Hey guys, welcome to the Measures of Center notes. We are going to be talking about three measures of center. Well, really two of them. I'll tell you which two. Mean, median, and mode are the measures of center. That means that's how you find the center of a set of points. Or if you want to call it the average, you could also do that. So centers are also called averages. And they're used to find the middle because it's hard to say what say the scores for a test were unless I find the average between all of my students because there's too many numbers to look at. So we use averages to find the middle or the average. Now the mean finds the average by taking them and adding all of them up and then dividing by how many numbers there were. So it's the sum over the number of numbers. I know that sounds kind of confusing, but it's just count how many different numbers you added up. Then the median, you list the numbers in order and you find the middle number physically. So whatever number is in the middle is the median. The mode is the one we're not going to use very often because it is just simply the one that occurs the most frequently. Okay, that would be good if we were trying to predict what our next card would be in a game of cards or something like that. But it doesn't help us find averages for like test scores or batting averages or things like that very easily. So mode really gets used for some things specifically. We're not going to use it today ourselves. But if you wanted to, you would just look and see whichever one has the most. There's also something called spread. This talks about how far apart the points are. Now, interquartile range is not going to be until we do box plots. So not today. But I'm putting it on here just so you know. It is also a type of range. Our range that we're going to do today is just max minus min. That's it. It's going to be one number. You're actually going to subtract it, and that's it. Okay? So let's kind of jump right in. You are going to want a calculator. If you want to pause the video and grab calculators now, they're underneath the TV. What I'm going to have you guys do is add all of them up and write your total right here. Now, that's not technically anything to do with the problem other than it helps you find the mean, and it's you showing your work to me. So what I'm going to do in my calculator is add up all of these numbers. All right. So 83 plus 95 plus 100 plus 90 plus 98 plus 70 plus 75 plus 81 plus 27 plus 52. 771. Then, to get my mean, I have to count how many numbers that was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So then I have to divide that answer by 10. And my mean is 77.1. Two things about the mean. It takes time. So be careful as you enter it. Don't rush it or you're going to miss something because you typed it into your calculator wrong. And the second thing is it takes a while, but it's not that hard. You can add 10 numbers and divide by 10 in your calculator. You can count out the fact that there are 10 numbers. It just takes longer than most of us want it to take sometimes. Now, for the median, you have to list these numbers in order first. So I'm going to get rid of the calculator on the screen, and I'm going to look for the lowest test score that I see. I see 27 is the lowest. So I'm going to cross it out, and I'm going to write it down. Now, write it fairly small and move it all the way to the left because you still have to list all the other numbers. And then after 27, the next lowest I see is 52. And I'm going to put a comma in between. After 52, the next lowest I see is 70. And then 75. And then 81. 83. 90, 95, 98, we're almost there, 100. And then you're going to cross one out or check one off on each side. I'm going to go ahead and just do this. One on the left, one on the right, and then another one on the left. If you want, you can do two on the left as long as you do two on the right. And then I don't have enough room to keep crossing out because I'm down to my last two in the middle. When there are two numbers right there, what you're going to do is add them together and then divide by 2. And that will be your median. Or, what number is going to be exactly between 81 and 83? 82. Or I can use my calculator if I want to also. 81 plus 83 divided by 2. There you go, same answer. Okay, and then I am going to keep the calculator up for my range because the other reason why you need these numbers listed in order is to find your range, and it is your max minus your min. Your maximum was 100 minus your minimum, which was 27. And 100 minus 27 is 73. Okay, we're going to practice the same thing on example 2. These are scores from a different Algebra 1 class. First one was 2nd hour, this one's 7th hour. We're going to do the same idea though, where I'm going to add all of them up first, okay? So, 97 plus 91 plus 88 plus 74 plus 79 plus 84 plus 55 plus 89. And I'm not going to add the 0 because I know that adding 0 doesn't change anything. So this one added up to 657. And to get the mean, I'm going to divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's only 9 people in this class. So their average was 73, or their mean was 73. Then I'm going to go ahead and list these numbers in order. Starting with 0 is of course the lowest. And then the next highest would be the 55. And then probably the 74. And then the 79. 84. 88. 89. 91. And 97. And then you cross off one on each side till you get to the middle. And this time it's 84 perfectly in the middle. So your median is 84. But if you have two numbers, you add them and divide by 2. And then my range, last but not least, my maximum was 97 minus my minimum was 0. Now you don't need a calculator to do 97 minus 0, it's 97. Okay, so if I'm comparing these two classes, 2nd hour had a higher mean, but 7th hour had a higher median, and 7th hour had a bigger range. What that means is there were more scores, outliers, pulling the grades down than there were in 2nd hour. So 7th hour as a whole probably did better other than that one student who got a 0. Maybe they were just gone and didn't take it yet. Let's hope. Okay, now here's the thing. If your mean equals the sum of the numbers divided by the numbers, we're going to talk about how to do this backwards. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down mean equals the sum over the number. So this one tells us that Gerald needs an 82% average. So the mean is 82. And then it says to maintain his B in geometry, below are his unit 1 through 5 test scores. What is the lowest score he can score, or what is the lowest he can score on his unit 6 test to keep a B? Keep his B. There we go. So that means that we're going to end up having a total of 6 scores. So that's going to be the number on the bottom. The top number, we don't know yet, so I'm just going to leave that as the word sum. We need to figure out what all of them need to add to first. So, to get rid of a denominator, we multiply it to the other side, because division and multiplication are opposites. So his sum needs to be 6 times 82. And 6 times 82 is 492. Then we're going to take 492, if that's what it needs to add to, we're going to subtract all the scores he's already got. And that will tell us how many points he has left. So 492 minus 93 minus 80 minus 85 minus 72 minus 78, 84. That's it. Okay. I'm going to scooch this over just a little bit, but you still see the calculator. Okay, the second one that's like this says, Ruth runs track and has set a goal to get her average time in the 3,200 meter race under 10.5 minutes. So her mean is 10.5. We aren't going to know what her sum is yet, but it says below are her current race times. What time does she need to be on her last race to make her goal? How many races are there up here? 5. So you would put a 5 down there. And then to figure out what the sum is, you would take that 5 and multiply it to the other side. So her sum is 5 times 10.5, 52.5. And then you would take that 52.5 and you would subtract all 4 of the race times that you already know. Now, you do not have to write that all out. You could just do it in a calculator if you wanted to. But you need to write it out on your notes so that you know what you're doing. And I got 10.45 minutes. And that's it, guys. One last thing you might want to write at the bottom, if this helps you, is you could write, or I guess we could write it at the top. And I'll leave that down there. Underneath the mean, if you want to, you could write sum equals mean times the number. Because you're going to use that whenever you need to work backwards like that. The last 2 questions on the assignment both ask you something like that, okay?